Very good. Yes, channel the energy. Something that I want to talk about though is, I mean, you talked about you felt the rejection and pain, the rejection, and I know it's the end of the class. And I've been yelling at you, and so you're trying to feel, at least that's my assumption, that at least most of you, some of you, a part of you are trying to feel like, okay, yes, Vanessa, I did it. I'm going to celebrate. But maybe, just maybe, one, the class is over. You don't want it to be. We can talk about that. Maybe some of you are feeling you did all this and now your life is a mess in a way we can laugh about, but maybe in a way that we really can't laugh about yet. You had the courage to get over the last thing, and now there's 50,000 new things, and they're bigger. And you're looking back at that old thing like, why the how I spent 30 years being afraid of that for it to go away in 12 seconds, and now there's actual fish to fry? Or maybe you committed and you low-key regret it. Too much work to do. Now I care more than I would like to. Okay, I want to talk about what to expect. Because again, this is not about like, okay, you're done, unfortunately. Yeah, you should be fine now. What does it really mean? Committed to art for a lifetime. What might it feel like? After you conquer, you slay a dragon, maybe not just here, but in the for going forward in 10 years, after you forgot that you took this stupid class, etc. There's a weird girl on the internet. She took this class and she set my whole shit on fire, to be frank. And I low key, let's talk about some of that. Let's go to the sacred texts.
There's a stark contrast, simply put.
Between what and what?
So you have the ritual burn
Okay.
of Luke saying goodbye to his father who made him, who imbued the remembering who the fuck you are, a Jedi. Um, and maybe a little bit of longing for the father who he didn't get to know, the father who couldn't, become the man that was actually, Luke's father. And then you contrast that with the celebration, or the celebration of this grand act of, freeing the galaxy, whatever. I don't know the canon as well, but and
You
then
got it.
you get that bittersweet at the end with the sweet of the friends who you made along the way, with the friends who you lost along the way, the friends who made you who they
Right.
are. And so it's, one big circle, one big tie.
Brilliant.
Contrast.
You got it right. Yeah, this is the thing that eats me up. Um, is Luke's melancholy at the end. That it's not what you don't notice that at first. You might be noticing, oh my God, the galaxy. Let's go get drunk with the Ewoks and shit. We're free from the Empire. But what did Luke just go do? His father died, and that was part of it. What an artist has to do and face to get that shit on the page, man. There's incredible sacrifice. And this is what that James Baldwin essay is that you guys refuse to watch. That speech, just refuse. It's free. It's 20 minutes. Refuse. Like, oh yeah, she keeps saying that. There's this incredible melancholy that he talks about. He's like, but he says at the end of the speech, uh, and this is forever. That artist is that speech is called The Artist's Struggle for Integrity. The integrity to get started when you're like, no one likes me, I'm different. And then it's like, oh shit. What Luke Skywalker is showing us. What Luke is showing us, what George Lucas is showing us is what every myth, if you know the Lord of the Rings, the end of the Lord of the Rings, Frodo's like, everyone's like, oh, it's over. Thank God. That was crazy. Ah! Frodo's like, and so I want to add that context because maybe some of you are feeling, maybe some of you are very proud of yourselves. You're feeling some lightness of being. Maybe some of you pushed through some things, but then maybe for some of you, the shit started over. Or maybe you have the experience of creating this incredible body of work and you're in flow and it's great and I'm using the force. And then someone else reads it and you don't know what their experience was and you weren't there and it's not your business and you're too sensitive to really be in the room while they're reading your shit anyway, because that's going to cause another spiral. You really don't want to be in the room while they're reading your work. You think you do? But this is what I want to talk about today, that there is this melancholy that we still have one layer of something to strip, that it's like, it's not, oh yeah, now I'm an artist. I'm also a tech bro. I have my app. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying it's a different type of ebb and flow. It's a different cycle than what the Matrix rewards and encourages. Mythology tells us like, hey man, the journey does not end where you think it does. It does not end slaying the dragon, the villain, getting into the arena is not the victory that you think. It's not, the victory does not feel like what you think it does. And further, that the artist's joy, just like the hero's joy, comes from something else. And I need to make sure you understand what that is before we end for the month. Or else you're going to be like, Vanessa, I feel like shit again. And that's fine. I don't want you to feel like shit. But again, I cannot have you thinking that that friction, if I had some one-on-ones this month or this week and people are like, I feel fear again. I did this shit last month and now I'm feeling some fear. I cannot have you thinking that you're broken. Oh, something's wrong with me. Everyone else is having a good time. That I'm still, I guess maybe I am too defective. No, no. So you face the villain. How might you be feeling? This is where the class should have. What happens? Remember how there's a refusal of the call to adventure? Slay the dragon, slay Darth Vader. You know everything about the Force now. Now what? Is it over? No, it's not. There's another refusal. Remember how awful the refusal of the call to adventure was? You're over here clinging to vices. You're not, man, not moving. There's another refusal. And that's where we are today. Gotta get home. The refusal of the call to return is the hardest. Coming home. Everybody says this, talking about mythology. Joseph Campbell. It's my favorite section in the book. The refusal is the hardest part. Let's talk about why. Because the hero is tired, fatigued. You just slayed the dragon, buried friends, left Kansas. You've changed. Some people retreat in mythology. Some heroes, some of their friends, Han Solo, stays in the mystical world. What is the analog for the artist who refuses the call to return? It's the artist who keeps to themselves. It's the artist who creates work but doesn't share it. Damn, thought that villain shit was hard. Artists who, the Peter Pan of artists. They're in love with, they stay in love with the inspired world. The perpetual burner, Burning Man, bro. No offense. Love you guys. They're really good at being an inspiration and they get stuck being inspired. They get stuck dealing with their new gift and the thing and the high of it, they're in there forever, tinkering away. What's missing, like we said at the beginning, love of your audience. They are stuck, and the self-help industrial complex will encourage you to be there. that you will think that there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with being normal again, trying to get you to feel special and different and trying to get you to heal forever and get better at healing and using. It's a refusal of the call to return. Why? Because the hero has to go home, has to go back to Kansas. Our class is about the hero's call to adventure. The adventure is only there to teach the hero how to discover the supernatural nature of his gift. Now the hero has to use it. Every mythological story ends after the hero discovers it. But what happens to Luke Skywalker when that story ends? A whole lot. So let's talk about, let's watch some stuff about this section. This is Shakespeare. I want you to listen to this famous speech. Everybody knows this. Probably some of you know it by heart. To be or not to be, that's the question. Hamlet. And I want you to see, I want you to pull in what you've learned about mythology, about making a decision, about entering, about feeling this fatigue after facing the villain, or you might feel. We talked about some of this last week. Ready? Can you see it? Can you hear it?
End them.
Okay.
To be
You got it?
or not to be.
Drop a in the chat with what line sticks out to you.
That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. To die. To sleep. No more. And by asleep, to say, we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die. To sleep. To sleep. Perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with the bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death,
Let me go back.
the undiscovered
Sorry,
country?
I just need it again.
Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of. Thus, conscience does make cowards of us all. And thus, the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought. And enterprises of great pitch and moment with this regard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action.
Woo. What'd we get? Anyone hear that speech different, that soliloquy different for this time than what they knew it? What did we get?
One of the lines that stood out to me, and I wrote it in the chat, was when we've shuffled off this mortal coil. It's like when you step into the arena, you're no longer just a human. You're the being, the purpose, the divine mission. That just really resonated with me for the first time hearing that.
Yeah. Shakespeare, man, I said it, man,
Mhm.
brother. Yes. What else? What other lines did we get? Conscience makes, yes, and thus conscience does make cowards of us all. So where we are in the story, Hamlet has to make a decision. He knows the stakes, all this stuff, man. What the fuck will it be? To be or not to be is our question to get out and to get home. Man, am I going to do this or not? I got some natural flow from when the shit was happening. Ooh, now I can use a lightsaber because the villain is slayed and I did it and blah, blah, blah. Now what? Ooh, I'm starting to... Man, that wore off. So what happens to... What does Shakespeare remind us through this character, Hamlet? You have to decide something. To be or not to be. That's the motherfucking question. That's the question. What does he tell and what does he tell us that everyone just repeated the entire speech in the chat, which I love. By sleep to say to end the heartache, the consummation devoutly to be wished. Man, if I could just sit right here. There's the rub. I love that line. I use it all the time. What else do we get? Who would bear the whips and cords of time? Who's really gonna? Yeah. Am I really gonna be engaged in this art shit for a lifetime? Oh my God. What am I trying to tell you guys? That everyone, every artist, like every hero, has to make a decision at the end of every journey. At the end of every story, the hero has to make one more decision, man. Oh, and it's heavy for all of us. And if you're feeling that weight, good for you. Makes us, this is what I love, all this consideration makes us bear the ills we have. Talk about being stuck. This whole consideration, the weight of the question, to be or not to be, makes us bear the ills we have, then fly to those we know not of. Are you with me? Is this heavy? You guys look sad again. You're feeling good, and now I ruined it. I ruined it, didn't I? Sicklied over with the pale cast of... What a genius! Sicklied over with the pale cast of thought. You're thinking about it, which means you have not decided. I promise I'm going to cheer you up. I didn't think it was going to get this bad. Okay, talk. Someone talk. Damn, are you doing okay? Commentary from the crowd?
Yeah, like how does one decide? So, you know. in the instance. It's the entire fretting of the speech, isn't it?
Yes, it is. To be or not to be. That is the question, and that's the question of the rest of this workshop. How does one decide? One, you are feeling the weight of the old world. Something's got to go. Something is incompatible. You get it, you understand, but there's a level of effervescence, or rather of buoyancy that you need to be or not to be. Is the question after the refusal of the call. Now, how does the hero return? There's a magical flight in mythology. This is the next step, the return. The hero receives the supernatural aid once and for all. Now, what, to the great shock of this hero, is the supernatural aid this whole fucking time? Is it the lightsaber? Sometimes it is in mythology. An object, a knowledge, a power. But this represents, Joseph Campbell will tell you, that the elixir represents the hero coming into union once and for all with the supernatural nature of his gift. And what is that thing? It's you. But Vanessa, what? I was hoping it was something else. He is the thing, and he has been the whole time. The hero sees two worlds, Kansas and Oz. The hero's task this whole time was to understand that they are actually one world. They are separate until the hero understands that they are the bridge. Oz is always going to be over there, and Kansas is always going to be over there, unless my ass is going back and forth. Make sense? Kind of? Why is the hero so demoralized? And this, I cannot emphasize this enough. I could joke about it and deliver bars about it, but this is grave. This moment that all myth is about, that mythology, that Joseph Campbell explains so beautifully. The hero is changed forever. You underwent something and you no longer relate to Kansas the same way. You have no friends. One of my favorite, the best example of this is Siddhartha by far. I think everyone in the universe would agree. I don't know. No friends. You are totally changed. In Siddhartha, there are baffling discrepancies, he says, between the inspired world and the demands of his craft. Anyone relate to that? You're in the inspired world and it's fine. And then out there, you need a branding kit and nobody gives a shit what you have to say. Nobody understands it. Everyone would rather scroll suddenly. Everyone wants commentary on stupid shit. People are too afraid to listen to something new. They don't understand the weird shit that you're on. So you had the courage finally to write something weird. And you get out there and nobody cares. Or they hate you for it, for saying it. Siddhartha doubted if anyone would recognize him or believe him when he returned from his journey. He doubted if he could communicate the things that he saw. In this story, the refusal is met with the refusal. There's a very tough task in this story where Siddhartha is sent the demon of the ordinary world, so to speak, and he sends forth his three daughters, Thirst, Desire, and Delight. He's getting his shit rocked by Kansas earth shit. Man, what's going to rock a hero off of his path? What's going to tempt a hero to not commit to the being, to the to be or not to be and being every day? What's going to tempt a hero, an artist? Thirst, desire, and delight. He's getting his shit cooked. So what happens? Who's this guy? Anyone know who this is?
The Buddha.
The Buddha. The return. The master of two worlds. Siddhartha becomes the awakened one, the Buddha, at age 35, by the way. In the story, he's getting his ass kicked, and he takes a deep breath. He's getting his ass fried. by these demon daughters. And he says, I call the earth to witness me, and I will sit until my goal is met. He takes a deep breath and he says that he accepts and surrenders to the nature of suffering, its causes, and the path to liberation, dedicating his life to teaching these truths to others. And the minute that Siddhartha takes a deep breath and puts his hand on the ground, he's getting his ass kicked, and he takes a deep breath, puts his hand on the ground. I call the earth to witness me. I will not get up until everyone understands what this means. The Buddha. Siddhartha became the Buddha at the moment that he said to be. All of Buddhism is built on this moment. You don't know shit about Buddhism if you don't know it. But if you were to use your instincts, you'd be like, man, it's about taking a deep breath and calming the fuck down. Isn't it? You don't know anything else. Is this making sense? Did anybody know that? That the Buddha came from a myth? Siddhartha becomes, at this moment, when he puts his hand down, he becomes the Buddha. That knocks me out. What is the takeaway for the artist, at least right now? How does an artist do this, man? How do you stay engaged in this art for a lifetime, man? I wish it, well, in the second half, it'll be more exciting. But at least for now, you need to take a deep breath every day. That's how the Buddha becomes the master of two worlds, grounding your physical Kansas self in Kansas and breathing so that the supernatural part of you can remember and play with Oz, because the hero is someone who becomes the master of both worlds. It's not. Now, how does an artist make that decision? Is it simply by making it? Well, no, there's some things. So let's get into it. What are they saying? What did she say? Well, what have you learned, Dorothy? All right, to be or not to be, okay. Now, how does she get home? She makes a declaration about everything that she's learned. She pauses. And what does she do? What have you learned in the adventure world? What does she do? She surveys. Man, there was the lion. That was crazy. There was the yellow brick road. I don't even remember. The tornado was crazy. That was wild, man. And then the flying monkeys. That was also crazy. What? Now what is this? There is a declaration out loud from the hero in most stories. What have you learned? The hero puts it all together. You see it in the Matrix when Neo's like, he's starting to believe. What have you learned? He puts it together. And what does he say? It breaks my heart that the reason for the season was right in my backyard the whole time. Aniem, Kansas, the audience. It's all back there. Damn! Shit, it's not about getting talented. It's not about healing. It's not about magic. I'm here to learn magic. Sure, yes. But why? For Kansas and for everybody in it. What's the takeaway? I usually do this at the end of the challenge. I'm not going to do it this time. I'm going to do it in the next thing that we do because it needs a lot of time. I've done this so many times and almost nobody submits the last assignment. The last assignment is always an artist statement. We're not doing this time. But we're going to talk about the artist statement anyway, because it's critical. Because I want you to think about this as you leave this challenge, or perhaps rejoin the next thing. The artist must make a statement. Raise your hand if you have an artist statement, reflective of everything that you have learned about who you are. The artist statement is not, I want to be a New York Times best-selling author and my medium is paint. I want an artist statement. Who are you for real? What have you learned, Dorothy? She could say anything. What did she learn? What did she say? There's no place like home. Okay, off you go. Do you have an artist statement? Do you know, we know the high vision. We know the audience. You should be very proud of yourself. These are big. High vision is done. Audience is clear. Face some shit. Now, what's the missing piece? Who are you? I know what my fear was, and I faced it. I know who my audience is. Now, who is the person who's going to be being? Do you know who? Can you write that down? Is it clear? No, it's not. No wonder you're stuck. No wonder you don't want to leave. No wonder you can't do your art because you haven't thought about who am I? What we did with the villain challenge is realize for the most part who you are not. You got it? You need an artist statement. Now here's who I am. Here's who I'm going to be when the going gets tough. Okay, there's little kids out there that need me apparently. So here's what here's who I am. Here's what's going to happen here's what I'm going to do when I don't know what to do. Here's what I'm going to do when it gets tough, when they tell me I can't do it. When I'm doubting myself again, I'm going to pull from the shit that I learned in Oz. Said another way, the artist statement is everything supernatural about who you are. It is not, I'm a painter. Unless you want to say that. Don't let me put words in your mouth. But it's the supernatural nature of who you are, postured, ready to greet the audience. Art, who is the person who's going to do the high vision and take care of the audience? Who is that guy? That's you. Have you named it? I remember when I got mine, my high vision and who I am. I was in the middle of the forest in Scotland in the darkness, and it came to me and I put it on my notes app. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm." So you need an artist statement. Let's give you some examples, yeah? It's my favorite class. I always say that. Okay, here's one. E. Cummings. This is from his Introduction to New Poems. It's my favorite written one. I don't like his poetry, but I do like this. I found it when I was 19. This is some of it. The poems to come are for you and for me, and are not for most people. It's no use trying to pretend that most people and ourselves are alike. Most people have less in common with ourselves than the square foot of -1. Man, what the fuck are you saying? E. Cummings. What? The poems to come are for you and for me and are not for most people. You and I are human beings. Who are you? I'm a human being. Okay. Most people are snobs. Take the matter of being born. What does being born mean to most people? Catastrophe unmitigated? The cultured aristocrat yanked out of his hyper-exclusively ultra-voluptuous super palazzo and dumped into an incredibly vulgar detention camp swarming with every conceivable species of undesirable organism. Man, what a sentence. The cultured aristocrat yanked out of his hyper-exclusively ultra-voluptuous super palazzo and dumped into an incredibly vulgar detention camp swarming with every conceivable species of undesirable organism. You can say whatever you want, guys. It's got to be true. That's how he sees man, everybody. Most people fancy a guaranteed birth-proof safety suit of non-destructible selflessness. If most people were to be born twice, they'd probably call it dying. You and I are not snobs. You and I can never be born enough. We are human beings for whom birth is a supremely welcome mystery, the mystery of growing, which happens only and whenever we are faithful to ourselves. You and I wear the dangerous looseness of doom and find it becoming. Life for eternal us is now and is too busy being a little more than everything to seem like just anything. Catastrophe included. Miracles are to come. And with you, I leave remembrance of miracles. You and I are someone who can love and who shall be continually reborn, a human being. Somebody who said to those near him when his fingers would no longer hold a paintbrush, tie it to my hand. Always the beautiful answer who asks a more beautiful question. Man, who are you? One thing about me, when my hands can no longer hold a paintbrush, you had better tie it to my hand, is who the fuck I am. Most people, if they could be born twice, they would probably call one of them births dying, but not me. Always a beautiful answer who asks a more beautiful question. What the fuck did you say? Man, it don't matter. Mind your business. This is me. For me, tie it to my hand. I wear the dangerous looseness of doom and find it becoming. Most people are snobs. Who are you? You get to say whatever you want. This is the sauce, guys. This is what gets you, man, to be or not to be. Oh no, I have to decide. Man, no, you get to decide. You can say whatever the fuck you want. And it has to be true, and it gets to be true. And does that not excite you? Do you not you know what's in there, man. You know what's down there. Man, I'm somebody who, in fact, when it gets tough, here's what I'm gonna. In fact, if you want somebody who's gonna do it this way, you better call me because I'm not most people. You with me? Where we at? I'm trying to gauge reaction. Y'all are mad quiet. You feeling a little bit better? Oh my, or I've been I haven't been willing to, man. This is what James Baldwin says, man. Everybody lives in total darkness, and so do you. But at least you have a typewriter. They don't have one. They don't have the capacity to just get their shit rocked and then write a poem about it. They have to wait for you to write the poem. So the question, to be or not to be, the artist statement is, man, who's writing the poem? You have to know that. And don't do this bullshit where you're like, "Oh, I'm going to hold the intention in my." No, write it down. Write it down in your native language. Write it down. It's a map. Who you are. Who are you, Dorothy? She goes and looks around the whole map. That map, that wheel is a supernatural diagram of you. Man, it started in Kansas for me. And I learned that I don't like this anymore. And then I learned that. And then I had to risk feeling, I had to let go of that so that I could find that. And then I learned from this teacher, and that teacher taught me this. And then I learned to use the force from this. And then it all crashed. And then I learned the hardest motherfucking thing. But here's how I got out of it. And what's the most important thing to you? Man, when my fingers no longer hold a paintbrush tied to my hand, is who the fuck I am. You with me? You need more? I got him. Is this working on anybody? You guys don't like this one? Yeah, Harper, at least you have a typewriter. Okay, I'm going to show you mine. I should have started with mine because it's the unserious one compared to all these other people, but whatever. Whew. Whatever. Be gracious. Or say what you want at this point. Classical singer. One goes through a season of thinking that you suffer with something and you're the only one going through that. And then you realize that that's not true at all. The program is called Home, a Story of Great Distances. The concept is an exploration both of this idea of travel and the distances that we travel to find home, but then also the home that exists within us. It's a recital, a program for solo voice and piano. This careful programming of music that is very personal to me in this journeying that I've done. The first half is focus of music of Spain. The first time I traveled by myself, I went to Spain. So if the first half of the program is this material, literal sense of traveling, discovering the beauty of another world. The second half, however, it's in English, so it's in my native language, the kind of metaphorical, spiritual consideration where you travel, but it almost doesn't matter where you are, because you're going deep inside. My hope is that when people attend this concert, this recital, that they will feel home, that they will feel seen, that they are part of a community, that we are all connected by this very mysterious force that surrounds us all and binds us together. I want people to be like, who is this Vanessa? And how did she know that about me? The answer is that I do know you. You know, we're not strangers. And I can feel you, and I'm here for you, and I need you to start your next day with that understanding that you're not alone. So that's my high vision and who I am.
Brava.
When you meet me, I need you to feel less alone, because we're not strangers. Did I do it?
You did it. That was a video that actually made me take the course, believe it or not.
Great.
It's love.
Yeah, and it's that thing that I told you that James Baldwin said, man, it's not about you. That story, I'm alone. I've got that. But the minute I can share it, and then somebody, and I can say, I cheated and I asked, did I do it? And you're not supposed to ask that. I cheated because I got you right here. But the moment when someone, did it work? Did I make you feel less alone? Yes, I did. That's when the other stuff settles. And not a minute before, when the artist has the courage to put something into the arena and let someone else see it, then the pain of the past goes away, not a minute before. Whew. Yeah, okay, let's get away from me. Let's do more. Yeah? Let's do some real ones.